Sitting down to enjoy a rare meal out with your family at your favorite restaurant is a core memory for all of us growing up. Usually celebrating a birthday or Mother's Day, graduation, all culminating in me ordering whatever I want on the menu. Mom and Dad were cool with it. Going out was special, which is why it was so heartbreaking when a beloved restaurant would go out of business and shut its doors for good. I'm Nostalgic Nick with Do You Remember, and today we're looking at some of the most iconic restaurant chains that have shut their doors for good. Be sure to hit that thumbs up icon if you enjoy what we're serving, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a meal. Now without further ado, let's dig in. Burger Chef.
The Burger Chef family would like to have your family over for dinner.
Burger Chef was once a titan of the fast food world. The company invented the flame broiler for cooking perfect patties and the first ever fast food kids meal, the fun meal. And the fun meal didn't just come with a toy, it also had fun packaging that told the stories of Burger Chef and his friends, including the magician Burgerini, vampire Count Fangburger, talking ape Burgerilla, and Cackle Burger the Witch. That one of the biggest restaurant chains in the world would, under no circumstance, ever rip off completely. Fun is better than happy. But why is Burger Chef now gone from our lives, you ask, if they contributed so many innovations to fast food? Well, in 1978, 4 teenagers were abducted from a store in Speedway, Indiana as they closed up shop. And the 4 employees were later found, brutally murdered in a case that gripped the nation, casting a long shadow over the entire franchise. And we have an entire deep dive about that wild night in Speedway if you want to watch that one next. But whatever the reason, within 4 years the chain had been sold to Hardee's and Burger Chef was no more. Sambos.
I can't wait to tell Dr. Jekyll about this!
Sambos. We're waking up some very unusual people.
Sambos was a West Coast restaurant chain founded in 1957 in Santa Barbara, California, whose name is a combination of its founders, Sam Battistone Sr. and Newell Bonnet. But it's also associated with a racist 19th century book, The Story of Little Black Sambo, in which all the black characters' names are racial slurs, and whose pictures are drawn in, as Langston Hughes puts it, a pickaninny style. Yep, of course the restaurant decided to lean way into this latter meaning, and decorated its walls with pictures of dark-skinned boys and tigers. Oh yeah, not cool. As the 50s gave way into the 70s, people began to object. And down from a height of more than 1,000 locations, by 1982, only the original was left. Operated by the founder's grandson, this location stubbornly clung on until the George Floyd protests of 2020, when it was renamed. And drumroll please, it's now Chad's, which I think is absolutely perfect. Chi-Chi's.
Right now, the incredible Chi-Chi's has a special treat for little muchachos.
Founded in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that hotbed of Mexican cuisine. In 1975 by Marno McDermott and former Green Bay Packer Max McGee. Exactly the 2 people you want to open a Mexican restaurant.
Give me a Timmy!
Chi-Chi's soon swept the nation, and by 1995 had over 200 locations nationwide. But a series of missteps, including failing to get the trademark for the word saucification, and a massive hepatitis A outbreak that killed 4 people and made over 600 others super sick. Well, that just dimmed the chain's star immensely, and by 2004, the entire chain was completely closed in the US. Fortunately for fans of mediocre Mexican, the Chi-Chi's brand lives on in grocery stores as a cheap line of food. And if you ever really get a hankering for some hepatitis, there remains one single Chi-Chi's still serving food in Vienna, Austria. Lums.
The first thing I did was I picked up some chili dogs from Lums.
There ain't a better hot dog in America.
Despite its unappetizing name, I mean, what is a Lum and why would I want to eat there? The Florida chain rocketed to prominence after being founded in Miami Beach in 1956, in part by steaming their hot dogs in beer. Within 15 years, there were over 400 Lums locations across the country. And in one of the most unbelievable facts in this video, the company bought Caesar's Palace in 1969. No, seriously, that Caesar's Palace. But Lums wasn't even done yet. In 1971, the company conducted a nationwide search for the best burger recipe, eventually paying the exquisitely named Ali Gleichenhaus $1 million, which is over $7 million today, for his Ali burger. But unfortunately, the burger could not have been that good, as by the mid-1980s, almost all Lums had closed nationwide. Ali Gleichenhaus, however, did not care. Delights. The fast food chain founded in Georgia that offered lower calorie, healthier options. And while lean beef burgers, high fiber buns, and low calorie cheese doesn't sound too appealing to me, it seems like in today's more health-conscious society, Delights would absolutely thrive. Unfortunately, the chain was founded in 1978 in the Deep South. And despite rapid expansion, by 1985 there were over 100 locations. But barely 2 years later, almost every store had, in an ironic turn of events, been sold to the most unhealthy fast food restaurant, Hardee's. I guess people just weren't ready for healthy fast food, or weren't ready for their incredibly stupid name. Howard Johnson's. Now I know what our younger viewers are thinking. Isn't Howard Johnson's a chain of mediocre hotels? Well, it might surprise some of you, but Howard Johnson's was actually founded as a restaurant chain, and was one of the country's largest throughout the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. With unique orange roofs, cupolas, and weather vanes, hojos, as they were called, were easy to spot. And with famous French chefs Pierre Fernet and Jacques Pepin leading the way in the kitchen, Howard Johnson's remained one of the nation's most popular chains for decades.
Howard Johnson is right.
Thank you, man. Reverend!
But the good times never last, and eventual parent company Marriott sold off the restaurant division to cut costs, which led to a death spiral for the entire company. R.I.P. Hojo.
Reverend!
Kenny Rogers Roasters. Quick, who makes you want to eat chicken more than any other person ever? If you answered country music superstar Kenny Rogers, then boy do I have a place for you.
It's Kenny Rogers Roaster. It's the wood that makes it good.
You're gonna love this food.
Kenny Rogers Roasters was founded in 1991 in southern Florida by who else? Kenny Rogers. And yeah, you guessed it, the former governor of Kentucky, John Y. Brown Jr. The chain specialized in rotisserie chicken, and the menu soon grew to include turkey, ribs, and I assume islands and streams. By 1995, there were over 350 locations worldwide. But old Kenny was just too much of a gambler, and soon, other chains like KFC started to offer roast chicken. The writing was on the wall. And the last Kenny Rogers Roasters in North America closed in 2011. But if you happen to travel to Malaysia, there are still an astounding 74 locations. 74 Kenny Rogers Roasters in Malaysia. Never thought I would have said that. White Tower. Ah yes, the classic White Tower hamburger shop, with its towering white medieval castle-esque building design and slider burgers. White Tower soon became immensely popular in the Midwest after its founding in 1926. And I know what some of you are thinking. That place you just described is called White Castle. Well, yeah, you're right, because White Tower was founded 5 years after the iconic original as a direct ripoff. And this did not go unnoticed by the executives at White Castle, who successfully sued their imitators in 1929. White Tower was able to keep its name, but had to change its building designs, slogans, and send pictures of every new location to White Castle headquarters to prove they were complying. And yet, this did not kill the tower, as by the 1950s, there were over 230 locations in the country. But soon, everyone moved to the suburbs. And with almost every White Tower location being right downtown, the chain just couldn't continue. So just head to White Castle and squint if you're feeling nostalgic. There they are. So how many of these have you been to? Did we leave out a famous chain that you actually loved? Is anyone booking a ticket to Kuala Lumpur to hit up a Kenny Rogers Roasters anytime soon? You gotta get in the comments section and tell us your experiences with these defunct chains. If you enjoyed today's meal, please give this video a thumbs up to help it circulate. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss a deep dive. And from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you very much for watching.